While I got the cam cover off, I'm going to check my valve clearances. It's supposed to be 0.2 to 0.25 millimeters for the intake, and for the exhaust down here it's 0.3 to 0.35 millimeters. I have my feeler gauges. This one is 0.203 millimeters, this one's 0.254 millimeters. So I'm going to slip the 0.203 one under, and it goes okay. And I'm going to try the 0.5, and she don't go. So she's in spec with this one. Now I'm going to have to flip the camshaft to get the other ones lobe up before I'm checking those. Okay, I've got my cams locked down with the cardboard. I have all my lines lined up. And now I'm going to I took off the massive bolt from the crankshaft with my trusty pneumatic wrench, and I got a gear puller here. I'm using a 1-inch socket to put a load on the flange there rather than in the actual hole where the bolt goes, and I'm just cranking it through, and it looks like it's coming off pretty easy. And I'm at the end of my play. I'm gonna have to put something else in there to buy just a little more space. I don't think it's able to come off yet. Yep, there she comes. Okay, it's off. Okay, before I go any further and start pulling off cam belts in full paranoia, I've marked up the current cam belt with some white paint. I put a notch on the wheel and a notch on the old cam belt with number 1, number 2. On this side I've got a number 3 and number 4. Then for the drive gear I've got index mark there, index mark there, index mark of the wheel against the cover. Hopefully that'll do it. Okay, I loosened up the 17mm bolt here on the tension adjuster. I'm going to yank down on the cam belt, which pulls that back. Now I'm going to tighten it up again. Now I got a floppy cam belt. So we will try and remove it from here. Okay, almost off. Now that I've got the cam belt off, I'm going to, with my homemade tool here, I'm going to pop this off, which I loosened once before, so should work. Here we go. And all I have to do is, oop, wheel just pulls right off. Well, that was easier than I expected. Okay. Okay, loosened up the bolts on my tensioner here. They're all 13mm. Gonna pop those off. Get the damn washer out. Okay. Wash her out. Okay, so after loosening up the 3 bolts here, you also have to completely remove the 17mm bolt, and then this whole thing comes off. And there you have it. Okay, once that one's off, the plastic cover will come off. And then I'm working on the one over here. Yeah, it's 17mm. And it does not come off, so I think I read somewhere that you need a puller to pull it off, so we will give that a shot. Okay, getting this thing off is not easy. I took the 17mm bolt out and then tried to fit my puller behind the bearing, but boy, there is hardly any clearance. I actually had to trim a little bit off of the teeth to fit it back there. Then I just got an old bolt and fed it down the previous bolt hole. Obviously this one's smaller, so I have something to push against there, and now I'm just slowly cranking it out. And it's coming. Okay. So, there it is. All I have to do is get my bolt out. As you can see, it actually goes back into the block a bit. Not to belabor the point here, but it's very strange bearing. It has a sleeve in the back, and there's a cutout that it slides into. So it's a press fitting back into there, which is why when you're trying to pull it out with a puller, you can't just press against this ring, because this ring is actually part of the bearing. You're going to have to do a bolt or something that goes all the way back into the back of the hole, and then press against that to pull it out. Okay, this is a beautiful cart that I built for mounting my engine on, which I was working on it with, but I decided I wanted to check the oil pump chain tensioners, and I realized that the cross brace in the front of my cute cart actually blocked me from doing that. So what I did was roll my cart under my 4-post lift here, got some straps, lifted the engine off the cart. So there's my car, and there's the engine hanging below it on straps, and then put it on some jack stands. To get to those chain tensioners, you have to remove the panel on the front of the engine, but you can't really do that without removing the oil pan. This whole thing is like a puzzle. To remove the oil pan, first you have to remove the cross brace under the engine transmission. So in preparation for doing that, I got some cinder blocks and put them up against the bottom of the transmission there, so when I pull the cross brace